Tell me what's the procedure. You're going to ask me a question. I'm going to answer, and then I go like this.
My screen, I got two of me. The full screen of me, and then the little box, it's me.
Can I get to the participants? Is all of you here?
All right, I just started the recording again. Dad, are you all ready and set?
I'm sitting down, and I'm about as ready as I'm ever gonna be.
Oh, you two look so beautiful. It's so good to see you. I did prepare. Because I had some ideas while I was, I had some ideas. So I had some ideas.
So we're gonna start. We're gonna go back in time. I don't know, 42 years. Okay.
Okay, Dad, what was your first impression of Susan?
My first impression that she was a wild and crazy young gal.
Here's the thing. I was having a party, which I had. I knew all of the people. I lived down at the beach. I had rented a house down at the ocean because that was my retreat. So I go into New York, then I'd come back down and go back into New York, listen to the ocean at night, and that was my thing. But I met a lot of people down there.
When we first met, it was down across the street from Nana's house. It was there. I guess there was maybe a small party going on.
The day after Christmas, I would always make a big turkey. I don't know why. And then I must have had a party and fed them. Then I put the carcass out on the beach. And then we'd have a party for all the seagulls.
My first impression was that she was kind of an eccentric, and I thought that was pretty cool because I've never really met anybody like that.
Dad was the last one of all of the wards that I met out of the 11 kids. There we met. That's the night that we met. You've seen this picture, right?
I have. And if you he has his arm around you, that must have been,
We took a picture because it was his birthday. So yeah, we look kind of cozy in this picture, don't we? He got me kind of angry, and you've heard this story, but he had advice for me. He had suggestions for me for boots, designing of boots, because he was in Arizona and he knew about cowboy boots. And who was I to design cowboy boots? I just couldn't get over his audacity, actually, that he would talk to me that way. World famous New York City designer. But I was friendly to him. He was a nice enough guy. He was probably in love with me in this picture.
Into the party just a little bit, there was a water line broke in the basement. Not the basement, but in the garage on the street side.
My Mercedes was in the garage and the water had gone up almost to the door.
So there, Mr. Fix himself. Oh, I can fix that.
And he went in these cowboy boots he had on.
Freezing cold down there, about ankle deep in water, fixed the pipe, and she was very appreciative.
I thought that was impressive. And he got my car out. So he rescued the situation right from the start. You just had a real sense that he was secure in himself. He was confident. He was a breath of fresh air to me in terms of men, So he was very different. He was a rugged, handsome American cowboy type. And that was very appealing. Don't you think we look the same? I think this picture says it all. Well, I must have known something, right? And I was subconsciously unconscious about it. So what's next?
What 3 words would you use to describe her?
What 3 words? Oh, God, sometimes you go with the first thing that comes in my head. Holy mackerel. No.
I think the first thing that comes to mind, that what I really admire about him, he's very loyal and he's very trustworthy. He's a very optimistic fellow.
Quite a wild woman.
What is your favorite memory with Dad?
This is probably, see, I came prepared. that's one of my favorite memories.
I guess the first big memory that we had was when we rented the RV out in Arizona. She came out to Arizona to visit.
This was at the beginning. This was the trip that I came out as he invited me out for 4 days out to Arizona. And that was like over a weekend. And that was a big thing for me because I hadn't gone anywhere or done anything. I was 28. And all I did was, honestly, when I told you that I'm building the business, that's what I did. That's the truth. But I did, and I went out there and he rented that big motor home. And Uncle TJ was the chaperone.
Went up to the Grand Canyon, all there.
And we woke up and he parked it right on the edge of the Grand Canyon. So when we woke up in the morning, we looked right out onto the Grand Canyon. That was incredible. This is when I know that I fell in love with him. He was with Uncle TJ and I were inside the motorhome, and he was outside changing the septic tank that was cleaning out the septic tank on the side of the RV. And I thought that was really amazing.
That was probably the first of many, many good memories.
After the trip was over, something had changed and I really didn't want to go back to New York. That's when I fell in love with him, when he was changing the septic tank. How you like that one?
Okay, what advice would you give to a couple before they got married?
Make sure in your heart that you know what true love is versus infatuation.
When I fell in love with Dad, when I felt that feeling that this guy's really special, it's just something that you know. You have to know that you know that you know that this is the right person for you.
In your heart is where you have truth, and that's when you really know what is the right answer. You know, people can give you other answers, but deep down, you really always know the truth. And you do know when the bond is right. You know that in your heart. So go with your heart.
I would say you need to be on the same page value-wise and spiritually. I really do think that that's important because Dad and I have those things in common, but we're also very diverse people, and you encounter so many things when you're together. But love is a decision. You make that decision and you stay together through thick and thin.
Was there a moment that you felt in your heart that it was true with Mom and that you knew that she was your partner?
I knew that after we were going out for a little bit, and then after the trip to Arizona, then I knew that this was somebody that I was going to be spending the remaining of my time with, and wanted to spend the remaining of my time with.
What was the best marriage advice that you were given?
Probably close to the same answer that you know in your heart, and that advice was given to me by my mom.
The thing that comes to mind, Nana's advice when we were going through some difficult times, and Nana said, what you need to do, Sue, is when you get really angry and you really think you're done, you're finished, think about the person and what it was like when you first fell in love with them and what it was that you found to be so wonderful about them. And think about that, because those qualities are still there. And sometimes, I wouldn't see them, or vice versa, Dad wouldn't see them, or in any relationship, you don't see them because the person gets you so angry and you just feel like, I don't want to do this anymore or whatever. So what it does, it takes that edge off the hardness of your heart at that time. These are off the cuff because I didn't write anything down.
That makes it more authentic. So you and Dad have had 4 decades together. What are you most looking forward to in the next decade as a couple?
clearing out the house, clearing out the barn. And I'll tell you, it's something that we'll probably have to do together. Do I want to do it? Nope. But I look forward to the day we do it. That would be a happy day in my life.
Dad and I have been through a number of phases in our relationship. Let's put it this way. There's been many different decades that we've had together. So the decade of the 80s was a decade when we met and we got married and we started our family. We built the house that we knocked down the house that I had bought down on the ocean. We built that beautiful house. And by the end of the 80s, that first decade, we had 4 children and we had purchased a house in Watchung to try to make things work, you know, being down the shore in this oceanfront house that was going to be our dream house, chalet. And then we bought the house in Watchung so that I didn't have to travel 5.5 hours a day with work. So in the 90s, we were in Watchung. And of course, we had Eden and Avalon and William. And by that time, things, you know, tumultuous with the business, and then decided to move to the farm, and the business closed. And then during the aughts in 2000s, we were up at the farm raising the kids and all of that. And now, by God's grace, with his grandchildren. And now I'd like to see what my hopes for with this next decade. And I pray about it. I know Dad prays about it, that God will open the opportunities and the doors for what he wants us to do for this next decade, this next phase of our lives, which hopefully we can, you know, spend more time together, travel and see our kids together, and turn this into something and fix up the barn.
We'll always agree and disagree on things. We know what we agree on. We know what we both disagree on. But it's when different projects come up or different things come up that we know that the only way we're going to do it is when the two of us work together in a loving way. It might take that decade. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's a lot sooner. But that's one of the things I look forward to. It's not just the barn being cleared out or the basement cleared out. It's another step that we came to a meeting of the minds together, that we knew that, and then we did it together. My thought is, I think it's exciting to make new memories. We don't need that much stuff. The memories will always be there. They're in your heart too.
You know, we both have a vision for this place that we'd like to see happen. And I'd love to see our children be able to come back and be here for at least part of the year, because I think it's just an incredibly magical place. We'll put it in God's hands. It always is in his hands anyway.
For the next question, what is the hardest thing you and Mom have gone through together?
It was more than one time that we strongly disagreed on something, and I wasn't willing to budge and she wasn't willing to budge. And in that process, things got dark.
Well, there's been a number of hard things. I'll be honest. I mean, Dad and I've had issues with communication where he just shuts down, and has been very frustrating for me, and vice versa. It's very frustrating for him, certain things, because when I look back, just raising children, I don't know how we balance everything, but the miscarriages were really hard. Leaving my business, is really hard. We've been through difficult financial times. That was a big adjustment. Me going from being the top 10% wage earners of women in America to giving that all up. That was a big adjustment. And I didn't I don't know. I mean, with all the hormones raging and all the kids to take care of and everything else, there are things that I probably didn't handle properly. So that was difficult, but we got through it. But we got through these things together. We were there as each other's support system, even though sometimes you feel like you're alone, but it's good to know that that person's there for you. The difficult things is if we get through it, it either kills you or makes you stronger. And if you get through things, then you're in a position to help other people. We stuck it out. We didn't give up. Never give up.
On that note, what's the most rewarding thing you have done together in the last 40 years?
Well, I'm looking at two of them.
Oh, that's an easy one. When we had each one of you, from Isis to Joey to Sedona to Ruby to Eden to Avalon and William.
Hands down, no question, the most rewarding, the biggest blessing, the biggest challenge, the biggest joy. And now these beautiful grandchildren. Children are reward of the Lord. There you go, Bible, Psalm 132.
Going on a 40-year anniversary, I tell you what, it sounds crazy to hear, but when I was younger, you always hear old people, oh, it goes by like a wink. Oh boy, you kidding me? Things like look like they're dragging on, things don't, but they do. It goes by in a wink.
What is one thing the other person does that makes you feel loved?
I can trust him. That's one of the biggest things that makes me feel loved. And to fix up things around here. I really like that.
Before she goes to bed at night, she puts my cup and coffee there every night. I mean, you don't have to do that, but that's just it's a lot of little signs. Oh, I got you this at the store. Or, I come in, oh, I made you this.
Even little things like saying, do you want to take a ride in the rowboat? That's a fun thing, or we're going to take a walk up to the family tree or to go out to dinner, little things. And then also, obviously, that he honored me by having the family that we have. And he sets up the coffee in the morning.
What would you say mom's biggest pet peeve with you is?
Starts with a C, ends with an R.
Is Lutter in between that?
It is indeed. That's what I think. That's what I think he said about me. I don't know. Are you going to ask me what's the most annoying thing about him? You going to give me a chance?
I would say when I see something and I know that something is right, not because of just trying to be boisterous, but I know it's right. So if something's on the edge of the counter, oh, better move that back. I can see that gonna fall. Or don't put this in there or it will break. So I think her biggest pet peeve for me is that her feeling that I'm always right. And I'm not always right, but that would be her feeling, I would say.
As a couple, what would you say, Dad, is your superpower together as a couple, the two of you?
When we decide we're going to do something and we're on the same page, I think that's a superpower that we both focus and stick with it.
Nice.
But we have to really both come in that agreement. But once that agreement is there, then we do stick with it.
The superpower we have as a couple is our faith and our belief in Jesus as our Lord and Savior. Our faith is what has sustained us. It's by God's grace, and always give God the honor for it. Give him the glory for any blessing that we've had.
Okay, what would you like to say to Joe after 40 years together?
I fell in love with you and I love you then. I love you still. And I will love you forever.
What would you like to say to Sue after 40 years together?
I love you. I don't have to say it, I always will, because we already know that.
Thank you for making me a mother and a wife and providing this beautiful sanctuary farm that we did together. But I'm very grateful and I'm very thankful. Love starts off as an emotion, and then you really realize it's a decision, and you make that decision, and there are rewards all along the way as you grow and you are given each day as a gift to go forward.
You're getting them right from the source on who you're asking them from. It's not, well, what would he say about this? But thanks so much for putting this all together.
I have a few more things to show you. I was going to show you this. Oh, remember this? This is Dad and I. Dad's very handsome, isn't he? That's what you kids. I think we made a good pair together for these beautiful children. Right? I love the way Dad looks at me in some photos. That's another thing. That's always a nice thing, that somebody looks at you adoringly. That makes me feel loved. Let me take a picture. Hold on
Yeah.
a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, what happened?